I Googled it, critical thinking for the evaluation of sources in the digital environment. There are three things that make finding good digital sources difficult. First of all, the information that's on the internet. How to get whichever answer you want. I read it on the internet. As you can see, Abraham Lincoln has been quoted as saying internet quotes are always reliable, but he's also been quoted as saying, don't believe everything you read on the internet just because there's a picture with a quote next to it. So on the internet, you can find whichever answer you want to any question, but you can also probably find the opposite answer. The second thing that makes finding good sources difficult is what's actually going on in us. It's called confirmation bias. Nickerson defines this as the inappropriate bolstering of hypotheses or beliefs whose truth is in question. For example, if you're inclined to believe that the government is lying to us so that it can steal our money, then you'll believe that all of NASA's photographs of the Earth are fake. You also may believe that the Earth is flat, despite the evidence to the contrary and the fact that all textbooks say that we have a round Earth. The third thing that makes finding good digital sources difficult is what Eli Pariser calls the filter bubble in his book, The Filter Bubble: How the New Personalized Web is Changing What We Read and How We Think. Google, other search engines, and tools online are paying attention to what you click on and how you search. And based on what you're doing, they are giving you information they think you want and keeping out information they think you don't want. The only problem with that is that we have confirmation bias, and sometimes we should be seeing information that we don't want to see. So there are three things that make finding good digital sources difficult. First of all, you can find anything on the internet. Second, we are stubborn and don't want to believe things that we disagree with. And third, the internet is only giving us things it thinks that we will agree with. Penn State University librarian Rebecca Bickel describes 5 things we should remember when searching for good sources online: accuracy, authority, objectivity, currency, and coverage. First, accuracy. Check authoritative sources. Once you find good information, or what you think is good, double and triple check it with official organizations, educational institutions, recognized experts, and government agencies. Next, authority. Who wrote with what credentials? Who published with what review process? To stay safe, use research databases that your school pays for. Objectivity. If a source exhibits bias, be cautious and check with other sources to determine the validity of the information. Just because a source is biased doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that you should check what the other side says. Currency. What's the information worth? Is it out of date? Is it helpful for context? How will you use it? There could be information that is incorrect that is still useful for a paper to show how research has changed or how thinking about your topic has changed. And finally, coverage. The more sources a student consults, the more likely they are to find reliable information. When you're searching on Google, there's some other things you should think about. What kind of website are you looking at? Is it a .com website? Well, com means commercial, so that website is intended to make money. In the past, .org would tell you that the website was a nonprofit organization, but recently that's become an unreliable name for certain websites. .edu is for educational purposes from a university, and .gov is for the government, so keep that in mind as you're looking. If the website has a lot of typos, that's a good clue to you that the information has not been proofread or gone through editorial review, and that may mean that the information has not been checked and double-checked and could be incorrect. If there are a lot of links or ads, you should pay attention to what those links and ads are for. If the links are to websites that seem unreliable, then maybe this website is unreliable also. And if there are a lot of ads all over the website, then obviously the website is trying to make money by using those ads. It actually could be trying to make money by using the links too. So keep that in mind, that there could be ulterior motives for the information that is in sources that have ads and links. When you go to the school's library media website, you'll see a list of a bunch of research databases. I want to talk about 2 that we use primarily in composition and grammar. The one on the top of the screen, if you scroll down on the website, you will find EBSCO, and then below that you'll find Gale Opposing Viewpoints in Context, which is at the bottom of this screen. EBSCO is the more academic, and Gale tends to be a little bit more semi-academic in the sources that you'll find, but I'm going to talk about Gale first. When you go and search a topic in Gale, it will break down your sources into different categories: viewpoints, statistics, references, magazines, and if you scroll way down, you'll find academic journals sometimes also. And that will give you a clue. Most of these are semi-academic, so you can click on them. Once you get into an actual source, the entire source will be written here. You can push play if you want that source to be read to you. And there are a bunch of tools over here on the right. You can email, download, or print the source. And if you decide that it's a good source that you're going to use, go ahead and click on this citation tool and copy and paste the MLA citation, put it right into your Works Cited page. EBSCO offers two research databases, EBSCOhost and Explora, and they're basically the same thing. I tend to use EBSCOhost just because I'm familiar with it, and Explora looks a little bit more like Gale, but they have the same information. The first thing you have to do on EBSCO is choose your databases. If you're looking for semi-academic sources, you probably want to start with newspaper source, and if you're looking for academic sources, go ahead and just select all. Then put your search term in at the top, and you also have some other things you can modify down here. You should always click full text, and down here you should put in relevant dates if that is something that would be helpful for your topic. Finally, if you've found a lot of good semi-academic and you're going into academic sources, click on peer reviewed. Once you go in, you'll find all your sources, and it's really nice that they give you a little graphic here to tell you what kind of a source it is. An academic journal would be an academic source, but you'll also sometimes see newspaper or periodical, and you'll know that those are then semi-academic sources. Once you are in this search, you can modify things still to get full text peer reviewed or change the date, and you can click on the source to read it then. This source that I clicked on does not actually have the entire article here. However, you'll see up here there's a PDF link. You can click on that to get it, and actually from the main menu there's sometimes a link to a PDF too, so just pay attention to that. If you are in the case where you cannot get the full text, you haven't clicked full text, and by reading the abstract you know it's good, you should email that information to Mrs. Altina to try to get it, or go ahead and try to Google it and see if it's available somewhere else online. Finally, if you get stuck and you're not finding good information on Gale or on EBSCO, you may try Google Scholar. Google Scholar works the same way as Google. You put in your search term, but it only gives you academic sources. Once you get your results, you will see that you can click on them. Sometimes there's a link over here for a PDF version that you can read, and you can modify some of the search results over here. The other thing I wanted to tell you is that Google Scholar has added a citation feature, so you can copy and paste your MLA citation into your Works Cited page from there. Lastly, you can use digital catalogs to find books. I encourage you to use the school library, a public library, or even the local university. You may not be able to check out from the local university, but you can often use their sources if you stay and read them in the library. I want to talk about levels of sources now. So we have non-academic, semi-academic, and academic sources. Social media is always a non-academic source, and you'll see that there's some overlap in semi-academic. Websites, newspapers, and magazines are sometimes non-academic, sometimes semi-academic. Trade journals, that would be short articles for people in a certain field of work, or semi-academic. Books can span non-academic, semi-academic, and academic. But scholarly articles, academic journals, and dissertations are academic sources. So what do you see in those different types of sources? Well, a non-academic source may have immediate publishing, like social media. It may have no review, so there's no editor to check it. It may be for money or for attention. It goes out to anyone and it's written by anyone, and there's no need to have any references. Semi-academic sources take days or weeks to publish. They go through an editor usually, and they may be for money or to sell advertising. They're to the educated public, and they're usually by an educated writer. They will have 0 to 9 references. They generally often don't have a works cited page. There's just an attributive tag within the article itself. And then academic sources take months to years to publish. They go through peer review, which means other experts check the information and make sure it's good. And the purpose is to find truth or for professional growth. They're written to experts by experts, and you'll often see 10 or more references in an academic source. So as you're researching, you are taking part in the academic conversation, and I want to remind you to do so ethically and to remember these 5 things: accuracy, authority, objectivity, currency, and coverage, so that you can use critical thinking as you do research. Here are the sources that I looked at to make this video.